But I also think, like with what you just said, it's more of one. Well, everything happens for a reason, and it's their preference. It's not you personally. It's not a personal attack. And I think it's very easy to, when something like this happens and it's a no, or because I mean, you are kind of built in that industry to know you are going to get no's and you are going to get knocked back. But do you have any advice for anyone that, for whatever reason, they just can't get out of this perfectionist loop? As in, for example, neurodivergence. There's obviously a layer to that, which is RSD, which is sort of the rejection sensitivity disorder and stuff like that. Would you change your methods approaching someone with neurodivergency to neurotypical with this kind of thing, if that makes sense?
No,
No.
you are what you are.
Yeah.
And if you talk about rejection sensitivity,
Yeah.
why? I'm going back to what we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Why? You've got to ask the question, why? What
Yeah.
happened in your childhood
Yeah.
that made you sensitive to rejection? There was either a continuing small amount of rejections that then created, and that's where PTSD comes from. And it's not just soldiers that get
Yeah.
PTSD. And
Yeah.
it's again a sort of a spectrum, really, as in really bad
Mm.
PTSD events, rather really bad traumas. And so a trauma can be a child being told no, 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 or you're no good, you're no good, you're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid. They will
Yeah.
then grow up thinking they're stupid when they're probably really intelligent.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is a trauma that's built up. That could be classed as PTSD.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. I think it's
So
just,
that sensitivity is built up and embedded in your, wired in your brain. So you think you're stupid. You think you've been rejected. Well, you probably have as a child.
mm.
Whatever's been going on for you. So it's really to look back and say, why am I like this? Why have I got this sensitivity? And the other thing is that most neurodiverse people are what's called HSP. Have you heard of that?
No.
Highly sensitive person. All right. It's not a clinical diagnosis. It is,
Mhm.
the research has been done by Dr. Elaine Aron. I
Okay.
think it's ARAN. It's ARON. One of the two, but you can find it out. Highly sensitive person, and that's her website. And on it, and you need to be honest with yourself when answering, that she has done a self-test.
Okay.
14
Yeah.
questions. So you can go on there and do the self-test, but be honest about it to yourself.
Mm.
I had one client who is a therapy client. When I say clients, only if you work for the NHS can you call them patients. We
Okay.
can only
Yeah.
call them clients, therapy
Fine.
clients.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one client who is probably, saying atypical, ADHD and autism. He's very highly sensitive
Mhm.
and looked up when I suggested to look it up and do the test. No, I only got 3 points out of that. I'm thinking, oh, you could
Mm.
see it and you can hear it in her voice
Yeah.
that she is so sensitive to so many different things, and it all comes from. So far, we found out it was the ballet training, the way she was
Mhm.
treated,
Mm.
but there's also a parental thing as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I think are
So
all moving factors, aren't they? I think
yes,
there could be so many different factors that contribute to that. It's kind of hard to pinpoint it, isn't it? Sometimes.
yeah. So this fear is embedded in us
Yeah.
as performers right from an early age.
Yeah.
You know, the fear of not pleasing people, the fear of going wrong, the fear of not passing your exam, the fear of not passing the audition, the fear of not pleasing the audience, the fear of not pleasing the artistic director or the choreographer. This fear runs right the way through. And then when you get to the end of your career, there's a fear of, oh, what do I do now?
What do I do next? Yeah.
Yeah, and when you go into the next job, you're then fearing the boss for whatever
Yeah.
reason, and
So
it
true,
just
yeah.
goes on. You know,
Yeah.
they would say things like, "Oh, I fear the intimate relationship I got with my partner. I'm just fearing about losing them."
Yeah.
Is that the
It's,
fear of loss and all of these sorts of things? Fear of
it's
injury
yeah.
while you're performing. And so in the workshops, I talk about. Lydia, have you got a piece of paper and a pen there?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so on the left hand side of the page, write in capital letters downwards FEAR.
Yeah.
All right. Now, when we talk about fear, when it comes to like the hairy mammoth or the saber-toothed tiger, because that's
Yeah.
where it was all built into us. That fear stands for the FEAR. You don't have to write this down. It's the next bit. Forget everything and run. FEAR. Forget everything and run. All
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
But what we're dealing with, and this is the anxiety part that a lot of people have for performance, and it's created also by two words. What if?
Very
What
true. Yeah.
if my shoe comes off? What if my costume comes off? What if I forget the next step? What if my partner drops me? What if the audience don't like me? All of this sort of thing comes up. And that's what creates anxiety. This is where FEAR comes in.
Yeah.
F stands for false.
False. Yeah.
Yep. E is evidence.
Yeah.
A is appearing. What do you think the R is? Real.
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 False.
False evidence appearing real. So when you think about what if, you're thinking of the future. You don't know what the future holds. You have spent, and we were talking about performance now, you have spent the last 3 months learning and rehearsing the show
Yeah.
or a piece. You
Mm.
have the music in you. The music is soaked into your body.
Mm.
Your body also holds all the steps, all the movements. And if you're singing, your throat, all of this, it's all part of it.
Mm. Yeah.
Everything is there. When the first bit of music starts, your body starts dancing. But what
Yeah.
happens is those two words, what if?
That is very true.
All right. So
Quite eye-openingly true. Yeah.
if you come out with, what if my costume comes undone?
Mm.
You rationalize it. Did my costume come undone before in dress rehearsal or anything? No, it didn't. So you rationalize it.
Mm.
It's false evidence
Yeah.
appearing real. So that's what all of that means. And so you're creating this environment in your head with all the thoughts, and those mostly with ADHD and autistic traits will come out with those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just rushing around in your head rather than just focusing on, yeah, I'm good. Okay, now the other thing is, and again, I do this in the workshops in a different way, the physical, and this is scientific now,
Mm.
scientifically proved, the physical feelings of anxiety are identical to the physical feelings of excitement. Heart rate increase, sweaty
Yeah.
palms, all
Yeah.
of that, all of that.
Mm.
You can. That's what I do in the workshop. I list them,
Yeah.
and so when you look at that and you think, okay, what's the difference? I've got this physical. I've got butterflies. I've got a increased heart rate. I've got sweaty palms, and I'm thinking I'm anxious, or I'm stressed, or I'm worried about going on stage. All you have to do, and I'm saying all you have to do. How simple this is! You've got to say, I'm excited about going on stage. I'm excited about the audition. I'm excited about this and that. So you're just telling yourself continually that you're excited,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
none of the what ifs will happen.
Yeah.
Because the what ifs only happen in the darkness of your mind.
Yeah. That is very true. Um, and the way that you just said it makes perfect sense in my head because I think back, and it would be, what if I forget the whole dance routine?
Of course, you won't forget because you're programmed into it. It's embedded in there. Those
Yeah,
3 months. Now, I can accept someone saying, "Yeah, but I haven't rehearsed it, and I've just been called on because someone's been injured." I say, "Okay, well, just do what you can out of it.
yeah,
Bounce in
yeah,
time to the music, make it up
yeah,
as you're going along. That sort of thing."
absolutely. Yeah. I think it's the what if, and almost seeing the worst case scenario is definitely one of them. I think it's to do with having a self expectation that isn't necessarily doable. I think it's also that. I think it's a fear of not reaching, not necessarily external validation, but internal validation. Like, I found that a lot more painful than anyone else telling me. Like you say, like, it was a weird one, and I'm sure some people can relate if they're watching. I wasn't that sensitive to someone, well, not at all actually, criticism or do this better. No, Lydia, do that again. Take that away and do that again. I'm happy to do that. I want you to be telling me that. That's fine. The problem, I think now, reflecting exactly what you just said, really, that's why it just sparked a thought into me, was it's more of letting myself down. Not so much someone going to me, "Oh, Lydia, you were a little bit off today." Yeah, you don't need to tell me that. I know that before you told me that. Like, I'm not going to take that to heart. It's my inner critic. I think that's, if that makes sense. Like, I think it's that.
Okay, so what does your inner critic's voice sound like?
Not pleasant. I would like, especially, I think arguably, as I've got older and I've had to do some work on myself, and for that reason, a lot better. But when I was probably in that stage of my life, training and things like that, it would be more doubt as a critic, if that makes sense. A bit like, "Oh, yeah, but are you good enough?" So, even though I could have been told by 5 different people, "No, Lydia, you are good enough. That's why you're here." And I'm like, but am I though? And then, that's the problem with performing arts. So I think if you start thinking like that, and all this self doubt creeps in, you're not going to perform as well. So it goes hand in hand, if you know what I mean, because you're not comfortable in your own skin. Therefore, your personality and your stage presence isn't going to come out nearly as much than if, like you just said, you turn that fear into excitement. When I was excited about something, oh, I would go at 100 on it, absolutely 100. But that fear, I'd push it, but then I'd be like, "Oh, but don't go too wild because you might forget that, or you might da da da." If you see what I mean. So I think it's like that as well, in my opinion.
There's certain aspects about that sort of the dark side of us.
Yeah.
So in Jungian work, Carl Jung, there's all these different characters
Mm.
that are coming out. The archetypes, he calls them.
Yeah.
But I'm sort of looking at it in a similar way, and I get the clients, to tell me what their dark side, the good fairy or the bad fairy, that type
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, what would you say your nasty voice looked like as an individual, an animal, a person, or a rock or something like that?
Yeah. I would say it was. It sounds weird. I don't know why this just popped into my head. A bit like a tick or a mosquito, because it just sucks all the life out of me.
All right, that's good. That's good. Okay,
That's just where
so
my head went then.
all right, so you have a shelf in front. Imaginary shelf in front of you, and on the
Yeah.
shelf
Yeah.
is this tick or this
Mm.
mosquito,
Mm.
and you're going to look at it
Yeah.
in its face.
Right now. Right now.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Right now, you're all
Hmm.
right with this.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
It
just looking at the tick.
it may end in tears.
Oh, no, no. I
You're okay with
promise
it.
you. Promise you. Yeah.
Right, you're looking at it, and you're not going to use your mouth to speak. You're going to use your thoughts in your head, and you're going
Yeah.
to say to it, "Why have you been doing this to me?" And Tell me what the first thought in your head is.
Think of it in my head and then the
Yeah,
response.
you're talking to the tick or the
Yeah.
mosquito
Yeah.
through the thoughts in your head,
Hmm.
and then you tell me, not through the thoughts in your head, but with your mouth,
Yeah.
what your first thoughts that come back to you are.
Hmm. How do I word this? That's always been the case. That's my normal. Like
Okay,
that's my normality
right
for
then.
most of my life.
Ask the next question
Okay.
again in thoughts in your head. Say, how far back does this go, and why did it start?
5 years old. And I know it's 5 years old because I started getting quite bad anxiety when I was 5. And why it started, I don't know. And that's the honest answer. I think because arguably you could say, what's a 5-year-old got to be that anxious about? Like I didn't really have that much external noise going on at that point. So that's actually always been a big old question mark as to why. So I actually don't know the answer to that.
Okay. Well, we won't go on because it could end in tears. But the thing to do is to start reflecting on
Yeah.
what happened to you. So what happened to you, not what you were thinking or anything like that. What happened to you at 5 years old to create the voice that told you that you're no good?
I don't,
Or not
weird.
no good, not necessarily no good, but you're not good enough. So
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily have to do with dance.
Oh, I was bullied quite badly at primary school. So
Oh, yeah,
that's
well, there you
that's
go. So
yeah,
you would.
yeah. I think that. But then I also find it quite funny because, in the sense of dance, for example, was brought into my life quite young, and dance was where I felt like, how do I explain it? I could detach from that. And actually, I walked into, I mean, I started off doing street dance first and foremost. And I walked into that, and actually, I thought I could be everything authentically myself in a dance class. And I felt like I was good enough when I was younger. So I think that's like quite hard to process because I think as I got older and my training became more intense, and I was like, oh no, actually, I'm doing this as a career now. Like, this isn't just a hobby for me. Somewhere along the line, it just did a 360. I don't know if that was age and different life experiences that might have gone on, but it just flipped. And then it became the sole reason as to why I didn't think I was good enough for both in the studio and in my personal life.
Okay,
So
so
it was a 360 for me. That makes sense.
yeah, then you got to figure out what the 360 was. But at the moment, you've still got the tick or the mosquito on that shelf in front of you.
Mm, I do.
How are you going to get rid of it?
How am I going to get rid of it?
You're going to get rid of it now.
Now.
Yeah, you're going to get rid of it now. So,
Right.
by what means are you going to get rid of it? The actual image of what it is.
Okay.
All right, flick it. Is that going to kill it?
Kill it. Squash it.
You do what you want to do. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell the audience.
Well, I'd rather kill it, to be fair, just get it
But
away.
But yeah, okay, but you don't have to tell us what you're going to
Oh, sorry.
do
Okay,
to kill
right.
it, all right? You're just going to do it
Yeah.
in the thoughts in your head. There's no motion or anything like that. It's like rehearsing.
Okay.
One more time. No, you don't have to
Yeah.
do that. You're just going to, in the thoughts, you're going to look at it
Mm.
and you're going to tell it, I don't need you anymore in my life. Okay, that's the first thing. And watch what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me what happens?
Relief. But like it's a lift, isn't it?
Okay, so you have taken over that imaginary thought.
Mm.
You've manifested it into an object of
Yeah.
whatever it is,
Mm.
mosquito, then, and your thought pattern was able to signify, I don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
I can do
Yeah.
without you.
Yeah.
And it disappeared, it shrunk, it turned into dust, whatever it did.
Yeah.
Whatever it
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
You have control of your life. Everyone has got control of their life to a certain degree. But it's
Yeah.
what's wired into the brain from an early age that then
Mm.
creates who we are. And we don't necessarily want that wiring. So the incremental change can do that. And the visualizations as well. So you've actually experienced that weight coming off. If you
Yeah.
see it again, or if you hear it again, but
Yeah.
you're not good at it. Hang on a minute, I told you to go away.
Yeah.
You're having a conversation with a thing,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
a real thing to you. It's a real thing because it's been in your life for however
Yeah.
many years.
No, very true. I like that. I like that a lot, to be honest. But I think, just sorry, again on that though, I think little and often for me has been a really big help. And this is just what I've been doing of self-learning about how to kind of de-wire my brain. And it's been a lot of work, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to it. And it starts very small. And I think for me, it got to the point, I think, with the self-worth thing that it was almost, I wasn't conscious of what I was doing or saying, if that makes sense, to myself. So it'd be like, oh, it could be as simple as this. Oh, a friend goes, oh, you look nice. Anyone else would just say, thank you, move on, like they all do. Mine would be like, oh, no, this isn't right. And then this isn't right. Or, oh, I could have had a better getting ready day. This is like very generic. But that was something that I would never have even double guessed. I was like, that's just what I'm like. And then, oh, you did that really well. Oh, no, I could have done better, a lot better. And
But
it was,
these are dancers. It's not just you. These are
yeah,
dancers,
yeah.
performers. In fact, I want to just say dancers. These are performers who cannot accept that they're good enough. It
Yeah.
happens all the time, and slowly we get to that point of saying, "Thank you."
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And enjoy it, because what are you doing to the other person? How would you like someone that you just said, oh, that was great, and then they go through the whole story of what they could have done better?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
it
no,
it affects the other individual as well.
it
Oh
does.
shit, I'm not gonna say you're good anymore.
No, it does. No, it does. It does. And I think it's uncomfortable to start with, and people might find that weird for me to say, but it's uncomfortable to say thank you to start with because it's not how you're wired or it's not how you've lived a lot of your life. The more you do it, it's like anything, I think, the more I've done it, and it could be the littlest of things I'm saying thank you for and not coming back with a but I could have, just a thank you has really made a significant difference in my mindset. It's made it a lot more comfortable.
Good. Oh, the what
And yeah,
if. So I'm going to flip what ifs. So if you
mm,
start saying what ifs, you could say, what if I did a good performance?
yeah,
What if the audience was really on my side? What if the artistic director, etc., etc.? You just
yeah,
flip it.
yeah. It's literally just, yeah, it's as minor as that, as just flipping it to what if I actually, yeah, went on and did amazing things in my career. And the difference could be so significant, I think, rather than being, we're like a mosquito sucking the life out of it. And that's what gives you joy. So why can't you do amazing at it? And it is like that mindset shift, I think, so powerful. Always have for that. It's just how to do it. And that is a very good way of doing it, I think.
Mm,
I really like that.
good.
I'm a fan of that. I think just around the mental health as well side of things, I think with a lot of people, there's some people that from externally can look like they're struggling, if you know what I mean. So they can show externally and things like that. So it might be easier to pinpoint with certain people. But I also know there's a lot of people that from the outside, again, with performing arts, I think because you've always got to be of a certain energy. And when you're on stage, your problems are left in the wing, if you know what I mean. So it actually become quite hard to tell with people because it's like a mask. Again, also with neurodivergency, it's masking and things like that. Is there any signs that you feel like are quite prominent that might not be spoken about as much with people that are struggling?
It's all unique.
Yeah,
If you know the person, if you're a teacher and
yeah,
you know your students, you will get to see signs. Yeah, I don't think I can list them.
yeah,
They're, you know, they will know when an ebullient child is quiet.
Yeah.
Something's going on for them. So it's noticing changes.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you see someone for the first time, you're not going to know well, if they're unwell or not. They may be a miserable person.
Yeah. Yeah.
People who are over happy are doing it as a mask,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
they won't show you the other side of them because they don't want to be questioned about it.
Yeah.
Some people that come to therapy with me are smiling all the time,
Hmm.
even when they're telling me the most awful things of what's happened to them in their lives, really traumatic things. They are smiling because that's the mask that they've had to put on to cover up those awful things.
Yeah.
So I can't give you an advice as to what to look for. You just
No,
look
I was
for
just curious.
different.
Yeah.
You look for differences.
Yeah. I think behavioural changes and things like that are quite significant, and it's it's bizarre because I think with the fun and laughing, and when people are like, I don't know, like the biggest energy in the room. As I've got older, I mean, sometimes it can be authentic, and that's just how they feel. Don't get me wrong, but I think as I've got older, I think those are the people that you check in with, because I think they have this maybe internal, external pressure to keep everyone happy themselves or
That's a
bring them.
very good point. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
As a
think,
child, if their parents were rowing all the time, they would be the people pleaser. They would try and calm things down, and they would always look. They're always aware of what's going on in their life to make sure that both parents are going to be calm. They would
yeah,
always do that. They would play not against each other, but they would make sure that everyone is happy so that they have a calm life. So a
yeah,
child's raison d'etre is to feel safe, and they would
yeah,
create these different things in their home environment to make sure that everything is going to be working well, everything is smooth, they're all going to
mm,
be happy, but they can sense straight away when something is wrong,
mm,
and they will become happy, and but there's false happiness
yeah,
just to keep parents happy
yeah. And they kind of lose sight of what makes
themselves.
them internally happy. Yeah,
Yes, that's
themselves,
right.
their sense of self. Yeah, which I think isn't spoken about enough. I think that's kind of, I don't know. I think if you've experienced someone that is like that or fits that kind of description, you become more aware of it. Like I feel like I can spot that quite quickly if it's just everyone's like, oh, they're such high energy. Oh God, they're so happy now. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I hope they're taking care of them as well, not just everyone around them, because I think that can sometimes get lost a little bit.
This thing nowadays. Hi, how are you? And you're passing. How are
Yes.
you? You actually don't want to know how they are. That's
Yeah.
most people don't want to know. But
No.
if you stop and say no, how are you?
Yeah.
If you can sense something, and you've seen them before, and you sense something, you say, no, I'm really curious to know, or I'm interested to know. You better say I'm interested. I'm interested to know how you are,
Yeah. I
and then
saw.
it sort of starts slowing down.
Yeah. Yeah.
See the reaction. Don't say anything. Silence is very powerful in certain aspects.
I,
Sorry, I know you're going to say something, but I had one client that would sit for about 45 minutes in silence in the session, each session. And, in the third session, I said, I've noticed that you don't want to say anything. Is there something that you do want to say, but you feel you can't? She said, no, I just love the peace and quiet. Everything else in my life is so hectic. Just to sit here for that time
wow.
was
Hmm.
therapeutic for her.
Yeah. I can see why though. I feel like if, like you say, if your life's quite chaotic and there's 100 things going on at once, just be at one with herself so she can reconnect with herself, which is, I think, is what you lose if you're living 100 miles per hour. So you're not, it's very important to come back to yourself, I think, and remind yourself of how you're feeling and not get caught up in everyone else's feelings, if that makes sense. I think that's very important as well. The question is, if you were, I don't know, 10-year-old Terry, for example, in your ballet training, full-time ballet training, if he had a you sat opposite him now doing what you're doing and things like that, what do you think he would have needed from yourself now?
I do get asked this
Do you?
when I do interviews, yeah. And
What was being unique?
no, no, because, you know, if there was me available then, the thing is, I don't know whether I would use me, because I enjoyed, and I have enjoyed my life right the way through. Yes, I've had terrible times, and I only realised I had terrible times when I started the training as a psychotherapist. So when I went for the course, I saw the course outline, and the criteria was that we had to do 40 weekly therapy sessions for ourselves in the first year. And I thought, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. Why would I want that? And in fact, I went on to do 4 years of weekly therapy because I found it so helpful.
Yeah.
Because of all the stuff that happened in my life. And back in those days, you know, the 60s, the 70s and the 80s, mental health wasn't spoken about. It's more spoken about now. So when you ask me back then as a 10-year-old, what would I need? I don't know, because it wasn't spoken about. But if it was spoken about now and I was a 10-year-old, I would have probably thought, oh, yeah, okay, well, this happened and that happened and that, you know, so the snowflakes of traumas happened that caused the snowball, and then the snowball carried on rolling and building up and building up. And then the avalanche happened. So I know what I went through, but I didn't know what I went through.
Yes. No, I get that. I completely get that.
And then with the 4 years of weekly therapy, oh, wow. I think everyone should have therapy. You don't have to be mentally ill to come and see me for therapy.
No, I agree. I definitely agree. And like you said, it's interesting, like you say, at first you're sort of like, oh, I don't need that amount of therapy or anything like that. But that's the thing with therapy. I think a lot of people can walk into therapy thinking, but I don't think I need it. But then it's a bit like a layers of onion, let's say.
Oh, yeah.
You peel one and then that opens another door and you're like, well, actually, thinking about it. And then you're on this snowball and you're like, but that could have meant that. And you start collecting the joint, like connecting the dots, connecting them all, realizing why your behaviors now, pinpoint it to what point in your life that could represent, and dissect that one at a time. Before you know it, you do a year worth of therapy and you're just like, well, I obviously did, but you just don't know until you open the door, do you?
No, and I think the other thing is the cost, and with the NHS, there's online therapy, I think.
Yes, talking therapies.
There's a bot, there's an NHS bot. Then there's CBT, which works a similar way to an aspirin, or what did I say, paracetamol for a headache.
Yeah.
So I don't decry those things because they are plasters.
Yeah.
And they work for a lot of people. They work well, but for those that have dire needs, they don't work well. And the waiting list for proper therapy is very long.
Very long.
Or you're paying for it. But I think, you know, with the charity steps, we do have 2 volunteers that will do it free, and for the more qualified counsellors and psychotherapists within our list, £45 a session. My normal fee is £70 a session, and I've held that for about 5 years now because I know people can't afford it. You know, you've got Harley Street clinicians are not necessarily any more qualified,
Mm.
but because they're at Harley Street, they can charge £200 and £300 a
Yeah.
go, which, if you
Yeah.
can afford that, all well and good.
No, exactly.
But anyway,
But that's a
we
very
are.
good. That's a very good thing that you do that at Steps. I think because, well, there's one thing in this day and age, prices for therapy are extortionate. I think, and not everyone has access to that. And I think that's half of maybe the reason, like we sort of said, as to why people don't go. I don't think it's necessarily the not one. It's the expense of it because it is very expensive. So I do think that's amazing that you do that at Steps.
I got when we were doing a post, I think a year or so ago, one comment on it said, "What about the parents of dancers?" I said, "Yeah,
Oh,
you can come along as well." I
yeah.
thought it's great because they don't understand. And one of the things I did, I can't remember which intensive it was. I was asked on the spot, "Would you do half an hour with the parents?" And they've got questions. So it was great for them to understand
Really good.
what
Yeah.
what dancers go through, because they only see part of it, and occasionally once a year perhaps they see the performances
Yeah.
of the young dancers.
Yeah. I love that actually because I think you can talk about performing arts to people that have never experienced it or been in it, and you can only have a certain amount of understanding by just sort of talking them through it. But parents sitting in with those sessions is, I think, incredibly valuable because they can understand on what scale, if that makes sense. So it's yeah, I do love that because I think the support they can adapt their support with their child, knowing exactly what it looks like in that industry and things like that, which is ultimately going to benefit them. So I love that.
Yeah.
No, I really do.
Oh, I
But
will tell you. So there was another thing. It went up. My mind went from parents to school when I was at
oh
school,
yeah,
and I went to a secondary school during the time I was RAD scholar. So I was doing the secondary school. They let me off in the afternoon on Thursday, so I could go to the RAD class in London. I lived in Kingston on Thames, which is now called Southwest London.
yeah.
So I would go out there. Holland Park it was in those days, and we would have the annual talk at the end of your sort of your fifth year at school,
Mm.
secondary school. I went in Richmond, and the what is it? The careers person. Thank you.
Something
The
like that. Yeah,
the careers person.
yeah.
So I went for my chat with the careers person in my fifth year at school, and he said, "Well, what are you going to be?" He said, "Oh, I'm going to be a dancer."
Mm.
This strange look on his face.
Yeah.
This was 1965, I think, something like that. Yeah, that was 1965. And we said, "Well, how are you going to do it?" I said, "Well, I've been training since the age of 5 or 6, and next term I'm going to the Royal Ballet Senior School, the upper school, as a pre-professional course." "Oh, well, what happens if you're no good?" I said, "Oh, I'll probably do football because my father says that he would send me for a trial with Chelsea because we were fans of Chelsea Football Club." And apparently I was quite good at football as well,
There you go.
and cricket, and cricket.
God.
I played. I know I'm digressing again. The ADHD is taking over. I
Okay.
played in the men's team at my dad's works,
Um,
and also for an adult team. I was 14 and 15 then, so I'm playing cricket with the grown-ups in a Sunday league.
wow.
Anyway, back to
What the
this
athletic gene, you call it.
careers person. Sorry.
What the athletic gene. That's what they
Yeah,
call it.
yeah. Oh, and when I was at the Royal Ballet School, I set up football matches with other
Oh,
schools. And
God.
when I was in Festival Ballet, I set up a cricket match and a football match. We played the second generation, who were back then. It was Dougie Squires
Yeah.
choreographed. Yeah. Anyway, where was I? Yeah. So they had no concept of a dance career, but nowadays, it's totally different. There is a slight understanding as to
Yeah.
a vocational training that they
Yeah.
do.
I
But I
think
just thought I'd tell you that.
no, I love these stories. I can listen to them all day, to be honest. But I think with schools, especially like education, even when I was at school, which is now 9 years ago, it was longer. I wasn't uni student. I think it's very streamlined into uni or the highway at school sometimes. And then if you go to uni, and obviously I was going on to do dancing, so I was kind of, they were like, oh, okay. Do you want to do some UCAS to back up just in case that doesn't? No, I'm just doing that. That's all I'm doing. Like that, I think there's being more noise. There's more noise around it, around choosing different paths other than just the streamlined educational system, which I think is good. I think it's good because I think, especially if you go through school, and I was having a conversation with someone about this the other day actually. If you go through school, generic school, some people just aren't naturally bookworms, book smart, that niche educational intelligence. I wasn't, openly say I wasn't. But then I don't think other people's strengths, other students' strengths they might have, aka talents and stuff like that, they should be celebrated more. I think. I think because otherwise
Definitely.
it knocks kids' confidence because you think, oh, because I'm not an A-star student. But that's not the only intelligence there is. There's loads of other intelligence and a lot of intelligent people that kind of get undermined when actually if they, again, like we said before, played on their strengths, other things could happen. So I'm also a believer in that as well when it comes to education.
Oh, definitely. I don't think the neurodiversity is recognised enough
Mm.
to play to their the gifts. It's like in
Yeah.
my book, play to
Mm.
the gifts. When someone is looking out the window, it doesn't mean they're bored
No.
or they're rude. They're looking out the window because what they're doing aren't interested in. If they
Yeah.
gave
Yeah.
them something else, then that focus would be on that. I was useless at school
Mm.
in most subjects. I was good at maths and I was good at science. I got distinction in science and I passed. There was one ordinary maths and one higher maths. I failed the ordinary maths and passed the higher maths. I got English language and that was it.
Yeah.
I didn't get anything else.
Mm.
Um, but at age 60, I got a master's degree in psychotherapy.
There you go.
And prior to that, I got I think 10 years before that, I got a bachelor's in metaphysical science and a master's in metaphysical science. So that's where my mind was. And
So you're
it
passionate
took
about
me
it, then.
all
Mm.
that time. Yes, it's what you're
Yeah.
passionate about.
Mm. Yeah, it is. And I think when you're passionate about it, especially in the neurodivergent bracket, you give it 150. I think like when you're all in, you are all in, and then it's
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
uh,
And that's when it becomes detrimental.
yes, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, balance. There's always balance with everything,
Always
but
balance. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, I'm big on